think that's two predictions right for Kelly.
Not bad. Good start to the year.
But Nadem, I mean, it was kind of not too much in the second half, bar that goal, but saw it out on quite professional performance from City.
Yeah, totally agree. I think overall they seemed very, very confident and comfortable in that second half. I think they stayed in the right positions. They made it hard for Chelsea, and given the fact that Chelsea had to step forward to try and get something from the game or show some pride or whatever, in the end they scored the goal, but there wasn't really that much there in the second half to show. So I think that's credit to City as well as just the fact that they're just in good form at the minute.
And off that good form, I wanted to ask you, to you both, but Jolene, I'll put it to you. Out of those 90 minutes, how was it that City were that good or Chelsea weren't that great?
No, I've got to give all the credit to City, because when you're playing against top teams like that, you have to be on it. You can't kind of allow for any kind of phase where they're on top, because you'll get punished, and we've seen that early in the first half. Chelsea wasn't poor, but City were just great. And obviously what we've seen in previous years, conviction was in with their chances. I know we spoke about it numerous times, playing without a recognised striker and just being clinical in front of goal is a unique talent, and they did that in the first half, and that's where the game was won.
I bet it's I know for fans, but great to see City being clinical, because Nedham, that is something that we have been struggling with of late, and we did it without a recognised striker on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. And even though you don't have that striker and you don't have a Sergio who's going to score you 30 goals a season, the fact is they score 100 goals a season anyway.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? People have been chipping into that 70 total regardless. And as I say, it doesn't matter who they put up there. You have people who are capable of scoring goals. And I think with the system that they went with today, even though they weren't necessarily going to be playing in the 9, they still had enough players who, when push came to shove, they were there in the big moments. And as we saw in the first half, when the 3 goals are being scored, you're having 1, 2, 3, 4 bodies in there. So you don't necessarily need a 9 to have that desire to go and score goals.
We were talking about as well in the second half, but we were saying that false 9, because if that's what you'll call it, really I think is what threw that Chelsea defence there, and they it was De Bruyne almost was playing, wasn't he? In that second half.
Yeah, it looked that way in the second half, because there were so many times when, say, Chelsea would have the ball and it'd be great, but when they lost it was very hard for their midfielders to latch onto somebody, and the centre-backs, if you want to go and try and help it, it's almost like you have to jump out of your own position and go and play somewhere else. But that's not something that you're accustomed to. But when you don't have somebody around, you're still trying to have some level of structure. But unfortunately, just meant for people like Kante today and Kovacic, they've got 3, 4, 5 bodies around them, and it's basically impossible to try and mark them, especially when they have the quality that City do.
Unfortunate not to get the clean sheet there. I mean, we know how solid this defence have been with Diaz and Stones and Cancelo thrown in there as well, with Zinchenko at left back today. But they just seem to be getting better and better with game time, Jolene, and really controlling that defensive end of the pitch.
Yeah, and I think in the partnership now he's getting formidable, the understanding they have together, and that comes with games, and the confidence and trust, and that's a key element to any centre-back partnership, is the trust. I need to know that if I'm making or exposing myself for a slight second or period of time, that you're going to have my back and be in the right position, and they have that. We see them picking each other up when my mate's tackle and celebrating it like it's a goal. So it's important, very important, that you have that with a partner. But again, conceded, but overall, you would say that's one of the quietest games our keepers had this season.
Yeah, completely. And actually, I think one of the most complete performances against tough opposition in Chelsea as well. I just wanted a quick word on you on Diaz. I mean, would you put it down to him? He's been, I know you talked about having the 4 in the middle, but Diaz has had such an effect on our defence.
Yeah, he certainly has. When he was brought in for a certain reason. Problems that maybe the team had last year or the year before, you're going to try and fix those, but you're fixing him with a guy who's obviously good on the ball, but he looks like someone who's a defender first. Like, he's great that he can play and he's got that confidence there, but how often have we seen players, how rarely is it that you see a player who's high-fiving, say, John Stones when he ends up in a stand when he's tackled Timo Werner, and that's a player who's only been in the country a matter of months, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is different, but that's what City needed, and I think, in my opinion, for the last year or so, teams would look at City and think they can go and get at them because they didn't have faith that their backline was that good. And I think for the last couple of years, they'd looked at Liverpool with Van Dijk and thought, here's somebody with a presence. We worry a bit more about them. But to see him playing that well, to see Stones playing that well, to know Laporte can come in there and play well, and whoever's in there now, teams don't have that little boost which would come from seeing names who they don't fancy on the team sheet. This is a guy who could be a very, very good player for the team.
Yeah, never had that with Jolien and Vinny at centre half, did we? Well, I mean, one little downside, of course, was that goal at the end. Could we have done anything more, maybe to stop that goal, Jolien?
There's always something you could do, and you'll be analysing it as a collective back four unit. But for me, when I'm looking back and I see Zinchenko, he's a little bit naive in his recovery run. I think he possibly could recognise the pass going through a little bit earlier, because if he drops a little bit earlier, and again, it's easy to say now, if he doesn't go through there, he just steps back up. But then if it does go through, you're ahead of Hudson-Odoi. But then when he does recover, his run is directed towards Hudson-Odoi rather than getting into the front post, and that is kind of the natural recovery run, is get back to the post and get in line with the ball
and cut that angle off. Almost.
Possibly. Again, I'm not saying it would have prevented it, but that would have been the kind of path I chose, rather than get into the man, get into the path of the cross earlier and then prevent it from getting it.
I think that's a very good point, but I think also as well, with being a defender, it's firstly why I choose to be a defender, but then the other bit is like moments can be defined by just half a step. If he was half a step quicker than Hudson-Odoi was at the start, he probably gets there. But he just switched off for just that split second, which overall the team didn't do for 90 minutes. And you do that, and now you come up against someone who's got that desire to go and get in the box and to go and score. And from once you're on the wrong side of it, very rarely you can make that up.
And that's the moments we talked about before the game.
Yes.
You have to do it every time, especially when you're playing against the best players, the best teams. You have to be committed to making that run every time, regardless of the outcome. If it doesn't come, no one's going to notice it. But the time it does come, no one forgets.
Gents, thank you so much. We can now hear from a man who had a standout performance for me in the game, a young lad from Manchester, goes by the name of Phil Foden. We can hear from him now.
Yeah, he always has great tactics coming into big games like this. He's a genius at things like this, and yeah, as you could tell today, we played the right way, and we definitely done them staying high and wide and down the flank. So it was something that we did well.
He also seems to make a point of seeking you out on the final whistle to tell you how well you've done. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot when you put 100% into a game to get that, a good shout off the manager. It feels nice, And yeah, I'm enjoying my football, and I just want to keep enjoying it.
You're enjoying your football. Are you frustrated you don't start enough?
No, I still have a lot to learn. There's quality players here, and like Riyad Mahrez on the bench today could easily play. So there's quality players at this club, and I just have to keep doing well each time and improving.
The team's picked up points of late, picking up victories as well. But do you think the manner of this victory could ignite a push even further?
Definitely, it gives you the confidence coming here and getting a result how we did. Gives everyone confidence in the changing room, and we just want to keep pushing now and play like this more often.
Great stuff, Phil. Well played today.
Thank you. Cheers.
That is Phil Foden there, speaking at full time at Stamford Bridge. Of course, talking about if that can be a galvanising moment now to bring forward into the next couple of months. A very busy January. Next up on the list, Naden, semi-final against Manchester United. What are your thoughts about that game that's happening? The thing is, it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think is it one of the two anyway. Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah. Now, the hope first is that it's a better game than the last derby.
Agreed.
And it probably will be because it's essentially a shootout. You know what I mean? You've got to do what you can to win this one particular game. A draw is not going to be something that's acceptable. So I'm quietly confident. I think United are obviously in very good form, but City also have a lot of confidence as well, and they don't fear going to Old Trafford. They don't fear going all the way in this competition. So I'd say I'm quietly confident, but I think it should be a far better game than the last one. Yeah.
And I guess, Jolien, for you as well, if we're looking at that, and like you say, United are in good form, but with that performance, if we go and play like that at Old Trafford, you'd fancy that we're going to see us in another Carabao Cup final.
Oh yeah, you would expect so, and that wouldn't surprise me in regards to the performance and the result. And I do feel that Pep learns faster from a bad performance than, say, an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he'll adapt the team. It won't be the same approach. I think he was weary of the previous game in the last derby, and it showed. There wasn't as ambitious. But this game, I think he'll have a solution that will combat, obviously, United's threat, but also make City more capable of scoring goals and creating chances, because that's one thing that they didn't do. They had a good opportunity with Mahrez, but overall they didn't create enough chances.
No, of course, and Phil said there as well, in those big games, Pep is a genius. Nedim, memories of playing against United, but in fact, I think you were playing in the team at Old Trafford when Benjani scored his first goal.
That's infamous... Listen, people think it's only been about his last 10 years, but before that was the big turning point.
I remember, that was a massive game.
Yeah, everyone fancied us and everything. We would go in there, guaranteed 3 points. You know how it goes. But no, that was special because for someone, a City fan born in the 80s, obviously there's some before that, but you don't have a lot of memories of beating United before these last 10 years.
Yeah.
There were a lot of beatings and a lot of, it's Derby Day, we're really excited. United are like, yeah, it's fine, we'll take our 3 points. But things are different, things are different. The concept of the noisy neighbour vanished all of a sudden, and all of a sudden, like, here we are winning leagues, here we are winning trophies, here you are on the decline whilst we're going ahead of you.
Yeah.
But the Manchester Derby is always going to be competitive, and I think it's one thing I was going to say as well, to sit here at the stadium, because I've been away for 8 years, but to be here now, being privileged to be in this stadium, to be a part of this movement that is Man City, and to watch someone like Phil Foden, who sounds like me, talk about the club which I love and he loves himself, a man playing for one of the best teams in the world. Who would have thought this would be Man City?
Yeah.
So to sit here and to see that and to witness it all, like, you got to pinch yourself sometimes. It's incredible.
I do, and do you know what? I think you're being humble though, in saying as well that it's players like yourself and Mika that all kind of paved the road for it to happen as well.
Because you pointed at Julian. That was Julian. I know what he's trying to say. That's Julian. Yeah.
But no, it's absolutely. I mean, you were born and bred in Manchester. I think when you see the young lads from Manchester, I'm sure Phil would be sat here now going, "Well, Nathan, when I seen you in the first team, you created that path." Do you know what I mean?
He based his game based on me.
He's actually said
pretty
that.
Much.
Funnily enough,
100%. He's thought about it, yeah, because he would have thought to himself from watching me back then, how can I be better than this? Like that's
where the bar's at.
Yeah, literally. If that is the bar, all I need to do is get above that, and I'll be fine. But yeah, the club is great. You know what I mean? For where we were, and you hear the stories of when like Sean Wright-Phillips was being sold to keep the club afloat, the Wnrh false stuff, when he was whatever. And now to see the changes and to see the fact we're going to Stamford, it's not even that long.
Yeah, it's not.
But you're going to Stamford Bridge and you're expecting a win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just the players, but the fans, the league, the world. It's when you really take a step back and realize it. Like to be in the USA for 2 years and to hear the way they talk about the Premier League and hear the way they talk about City, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but were you there for the playoff final in Division 2? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know what's going on there. That's the difference.
You'll never know.
Yeah, you don't know this pain. You don't know this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's incredible. It's great.
And beautifully said as well. I think that's a sentiment that all fans will definitely echo, Nedim. And final word from you, John. Played in many of those derbies as well. It's always, I can't quite put my finger on, but that thing of going, kind of rules go out the window, form goes out the window. It really does just become about who really wants it the most on the day. Would that be fair to say, do you think?
Yeah, I think the earlier derbies, but as time grew on, and Nathan touched on it there, that we wasn't the noisy neighbours. We were really competing for the same honours they were, and even more so now, like going to Old Trafford and being favourites and expected to win and comfortably, and not being a surprise. If City went there and won 4-0, it'd not be a surprise to anyone. That is like a remarkable turnaround. So these are just great times for the club.
Well, we'll get one final word from our manager, Pep Guardiola. This is him speaking at full time at Stamford Bridge.
Steve Wilson with Pep Guardiola for BBC. Pep, congratulations. That was an absolutely fantastic display. 3-1 was the least you deserved, actually.
Yeah, we played really well. Unfortunately, the last goal, but of course the result is fantastic. Here in Stamford Bridge, winning, but especially the way we played. That today we back like we were 3 seasons ago. So, and the commitment for all the players. So yeah, we played really good, really well. So satisfied to an important win against Chelsea away.
All 3 goals were very enjoyable, but I thought Phil Foden's finish was absolutely special.
Yeah, Phil is incredible work ethic, and he can play in several positions. He's a winger. He's a guy. His ability and help us in the middle to our comebacks. yeah, he made all of them, not just Phil, all of them. They were brilliant.
It's obvious this season that it'll be a much lower points total to actually win the Premier League. Playing like that, you're going to take a lot of points over the coming games.
Well, today is the first day that people say that. So far, we were not content. It doesn't matter. So, like you said, the Premier League is weird for everything. Look, this is a stadium without people, and we have 9 players positive in our group. So, everything is weird. It's just to be focused during the game. The rest, the guys have to relax. Don't think much. The backroom staff prepare the games, but they have to be calm and make the effort. And I think what I said, hopefully in the Premier League we can be the last 6, 7, 8 games being there to fight for the Premier League at the end. But I'm pretty sure our people will be so proud for the way we play today.
Can I just clarify something you said there, Pep? You have 9 players testing positive now at this stage?
6 or 7, and backroom staff 2 or 3. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, I have to ask you about Benjamin Mendy. Obviously, all footballers need to make sure that they set the right example and do the right thing. And a few footballers haven't over the Christmas period.
Yeah, that's true. But don't ask to the players make example, because you put, a lot of responsibility in the shoulders to the other one. If everyone for ourselves take our own responsibility without judge the others, it's easy to say what the other have to do, when sometimes most of the families there were 6, 7 players. So people there. Of course, you're going to do it. It was with the Nancy family, girlfriend. They come a cooker to cook for the New Year's Eve, and it was a couple of friends of his girlfriend. Of course, they had to do it. I don't understand why the journalists are there in the home, spying him. But Benjamin is an incredible, nice person. Sometimes has to understand in which world has to live. I said many times, forget about Instagram, forget about Twitter. Focus on what you have to do, playing football, in your private life. Your life is your life. You don't have to show what you have to do. But he's an incredible person. He's one of the biggest hearts that we have in the locker room. Always want to help. And hopefully, this a little disturbing can help him to know how to settle again and to do what you have to do.
Pep, thank you and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So great to hear from Pep Guardiola there, speaking at full time at Stamford Bridge. And welcome back to We're Not Really Here if you've just tuned in. Nader Manua and Jolene Lescott have been our guests. I think Pep speaking so well there, and actually always sets a great tone, I think, for the leader that you'd want to see from your manager, I guess, Nader, as a player.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a soft spot for him, so I was just curious looking at the screen there. But yeah, everything he said there, like I agree with, from the stuff about the game to the situation with the with COVID in the team now as well, to the example stuff is, he said the right things. He said all the right things, and the best thing about it is I think he said it and he truly believes it as well. Yeah. And I think when you have someone like that at the helm of your club, you can find a level of honesty and understanding, which I think is what takes you to that next level.
Couldn't agree more. And I guess now, Jolene, for the players, it's the game on Wednesday. There's not too much training they can do then, is it? Or just be rest, recuperate, as Pep said, and then turn your focus to United? Yeah,
definitely. And players will be used to this. They've played in multiple seasons where they get to the final stages of competition, so it's every 4 days, 3-4 days is a game, so the kind of rest and recovery is so important, and they'll be used to that. And as I said, as a player, when you're winning, you're excited for the games to keep coming and coming because you know the momentum's with you.
Well, roll on that derby at Old Trafford Wednesday night, League Cup semi-final. Of course, we'll be with you before the game, an hour before half-time and full-time. Before I wrap up, do want to tell you about a piece to go check out on Man City's website. It's a really beautiful, well-written piece, beautiful pictures from a certain man sat next to me on the right, Mr. Nader Manua. That is you, my friend. It's a great piece, kind of about your career, but starting with your debut and your first game. So well worth going to check that out, to have a read of over this evening or this week. And we are going to leave you with the top 5 goals from...
That wasn't you.
That was me last week, mate.
Oh, wow. Fresh.
Wow. To be that.
Haven't aged that well, has it? It's a big
listen, if you can't say that. You personally can't say that. I'm one haircut away from looking 29 again.
You haven't been 29 for the last 15 years, bro.
Listen, I'm not coming back. I'm done.
Don't say that, Nathan. Give the fans.
Sorry, I'm not coming back if he's here.
Or what we'll do is we'll get you. Need to do your debut. We'll get your piece written up, and we can go do a little photo shoot.
But the black and white footage and that.
Just because it was in the Championship, that's why. Bitter, man. Bitter.
Shots fired here, gentlemen. New year. Come on. It has been an absolute pleasure, though. Jolien, thank you so much as always. Nathan, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, man.
And thank you to you guys at home for watching us. So come join us for that semi-final. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy these top 5 goals from 2020.
Kevin De Bruyne, he turns, gets away from that attempt to clip his heels. He's come to Aguero. Aguero's shot is rifled into the net. A delicious strike from Aguero to make it 3-0.
This is where City want the ball. It's the other end of the pitch. Wow! And that will cement the victory.
Bruyne, great shot from him, brilliant goal, one of his best of the season. Kevin De Bruyne with a drive back and strike.
Another player still down, Manchester City will continue. And again, a fabulous effort from Chloe Kelly. Well, she's had 2 chances in this game. My word, did she take the third. Tottenham aren't happy because they had a player down. But Chloe Kelly has her second goal for Manchester City.
Bonner through the middle towards Laura Coombs. Coombs has got a chance here, and she finds the net against her former club. Laura Coombs driving through in midfield, scooping the ball over Riley Foster.
A great goal.
Doyle, oh, it's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant from Tommy Doyle. And 2 quick-fire goals for City here. In the end, Bergstrom couldn't stop it, neither could the wall.